This episode of the Infamous Podcast is brought to you by the Flying Pork Apparel Company.
Do you have a moment to talk about the Flying Pork Apparel Company? We specialize in designer t-shirts, several of which are available on our website, flyingporkapparel.com. But we also do custom designs for special events and group functions. The Flying Pork Apparel Company, fielding nearly all of your needs involving t-shirts. flyingporkapparel.com. flyingporkapparel.com. Designer t-shirts for naked bodies. Rated PG-13.
Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Darryl.
And Darryl, this is episode 270.
Dun, 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 dun.
In a mere 30 weeks, we'll be at episode 300.
A mere 30 weeks. Or 30 years, depending on, the timeline and all that stuff.
And when we get to episode 300, we'll fight in the shade.
I love that.
That's like the best part of the movie. Anyway, all right. So this week we have the Expanse Season 5, Episode 6, Aftermath. We are going to call out all of our highlights from Season 3 of Cobra Kai. We're not going to do like a really deep dive, but spoilers abound for this episode. And just kind of spoiler, we loved Cobra Kai. I think that's fair to say, right?
TLDR.
Yeah.
We love it.
You watched it twice, right?
Yeah, I just actually finished my second rewatch.
Yeah.
Probably like 3 hours ago.
And we have some news bites this week. Hey, one of the things I left off, and just since we're in the banter portion of the show, did you see there was more Johnny Depp Amber Heard news?
So the headline I saw was that he proved that she didn't donate the money.
She apparently was supposed to donate like $7 million, like half to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles and half to the ACLU.
And none of it happened.
She apparently donated $100,000 to one of them. I think it was the ACLU, and she did $100,000 to the ACLU and none to the Children's Hospital. But I figured, we had talked about that for several weeks in a row, but it's just really funny. They're all ridiculous.
Yeah. So funny thing. I'm doing a rewatch of The OC, and there was an episode in season 2 that she was in, and I'm like. And she's not really dolled up.
No.
Yeah, she's not really dolled up. Like you see her now with her, face paint and all that.
Sure.
So, and granted, that was 15 years ago? So,
yeah.
She was I don't even know how old is she?
I have no idea. The first thing I ever saw her in was in that Drive Angry with Nick Cage, where he was like the demon in a car. Essentially, it was Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was dumb. I didn't even finish it. But I was like, oh, hey, who's that? She's cute. But yeah, I don't know.
The first thing I actually remember her in was Zombieland.
Was she in Zombieland?
Yeah, she was the neighbor in the first,
yeah, the stripper neighbor that he killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was cute in that. All right. Yeah, I don't know. So, the world's falling apart, so we're going to give you guys some fun nerd banter to get through it. Anyway, real quick before we start, thanks to Julian and Matt for helping us out on Patreon. If you guys want to check it out, it's patreon.com/infamouspodcast with WandaVision, right? WandaVision, we decided?
Yes. We
are going to do Patreon exclusive episode commentaries. Of WandaVision, like at some time during the week in between episodes. So if you guys want to get in on that, the only place we're going to post those is on Patreon. And while we're at it, if you guys want, check us out on YouTube. We've been posting on YouTube lately, and it's been going pretty well. And we're going to start doing some YouTube exclusive stuff as well. YouTube. What was it? I don't remember. It was one of the like travel search engines where it's like .com. I don't remember which one it was.
Oh, wait a minute. I know that one. Well, I remember Yahoo was the Yahoo,
Yeah, Yahoo.
but I can't remember the .com one.
Yeah,
That's gonna bug me.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later, and we'll be like, "Oh, damn it!" So now you guys get to yeah.
I'll text you at 1 a.m. like
3 a.m.
Oh yeah, I remember it.
So, yeah. So anyway, getting to it. Our first bit of news is a rumor coming to us from the fine folks at Princess and Pirates, or piratesandprincesses.com, where this is WDW Pro, WDW Pro. There is a rumor report that Robert Downey Jr. is in talks to join the Filoniverse as Grand Admiral Thrawn. I got it. We both really like Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. is like one of the cornerstones of our friendship because the first movie we went to was Iron Man. We've been over this. Hard pass. Hard pass. Thrawn is not sarcastic. Thrawn is not like smirky. Thrawn is cool as
measured.
The other side of the pillow.
He's extremely measured in how he talks and how he emotes everything.
Or doesn't emote.
Yes. I love RDJ.
Yeah.
I would, you know what? I just get Lars Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
I mean,
they have all these people like, did you see people fan casting like John Hamm? Hard pass. It's
Thrawn? No.
I mean, I like John Hamm. He was great in Tag. He was one of the best parts of Tag, to be 100% honest, which there's a lot of great parts of Tag. But yeah, like, you know, they already used Mads Mikkelsen as
Caecilius.
That's Caecilius, but in Star Wars they used him as Galen Erso.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't want Robert Downey Jr. in this role. Not even a little bit, not even at all. Like, if I had the clip of Julia, what's her name, from the end of 10 Things I Hate About You, I would play that clip right now. So where she's crying at the end of reading her poem. But yeah, and you know, I'd stop before she says that she lied and she really loved Heath Ledger. But Julia Stiles, right?
Yeah. Yes, Julia Stiles.
Anyway, but yeah, no, this is just not good casting. Or it's well, let me rephrase that. It's just not the right actor for the role. And I feel like The Mandalorian has done a really good job of not bringing in like huge names for things. Like Katie Sackhoff is a big name to nerds, right?
Right.
But like, she's not like this big like mainstream star that gets mobbed when she goes out in public.
Right.
So, you know, he's just too big he's too big. He's Robert Downey Jr. in everything he plays.
Yeah. And actually did like how the article mentioned kind of played into that in the sense of it looks like that, you know, the Filoni Favreau are looking to, you know, get some of these bigger characters or bigger actors, but how is that going to work from a, you know, comparing it to, you know, these people or part of the tentpole blockbuster movie industry,
right?
And now they're going to be streaming. So
yeah, I mean, there was
the contract, you know, because RDJ made a pretty penny.
Yeah, he needs a lot of money, so let's save the money for production value, and you know. I don't know.
Right.
I saw kind of in the same vein, right? There was an article on Bounding today about maybe there's going to be a Batman Beyond live action show on HBO Max, and in there it said Timothée Chalamet is rumored to play Terry McGinnis, and right under that there's a comment from his representation like, we don't know anything about this. So, but like Timothée Chalamet is not going to go play Terry McGinnis for a streaming service show.
No. Although one thing, well, it'll be interesting to see how the movie industry is in a couple years, and that might be the.
I mean, he might have to. I don't know, but yeah.
But like right now, no, they're trying to tie him to bigger stuff.
Right,
And
they're
considering
trade
how
up.
the DC,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just saying, considering how the DCEU has been, even if this is not a DCEU, but it's related to DC, it's no. But
Well,
getting back to
I
Robert
yeah,
Downey, real quick, you know, I would not mind him in the Star Wars universe.
sure.
But not as Thrawn.
No.
No.
He could be like
No.
a general in the Republic or something, or
Right.
like maybe he's like a pirate.
Yeah, I did see a couple people mention in the comments Talon Card.
That'd be interesting.
So, but yeah, not Thrawn. No, not Thrawn.
No,
Please
leave our Thrawn alone. Anyway, but you mentioned DC. So real quick, moving over to the next thing is Ray Fisher is back in the news with Flash rumors. Is he going to be in it? Is he not going to be in it? As far as the Flash movie goes, I guess Flashpoint is what they're going to do. And in this article, it says Warner Brothers reportedly denies rumors of cyborg actor Ray Fisher recasting appearance in Flash. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the DCEU in general is just such a cluster now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why am I saying now? It's been a cluster since it started. Let's be honest. And again, look, this whole stuff, all this stuff with Ray Fisher going on, I'm very curious to see how they move forward. I know you have your issues, your opinion on the Flash movie, and I actually kind of share it. I honestly don't care about that movie one bit.
Yeah, I'd rather they not do it, just to be perfectly clear.
Like,
but
But as far as Ray Fisher, well, first, we don't even know where they're going to go after this whole Justice League thing, and if this is going to be I won't even say a hit, but if it kind of wipes some of the stain from the actual theatrical Justice League, which I think it will. I don't think it's going to be a great movie. Don't get me wrong, but will that be enough to fire up the audience to want to see more DC movies?
I don't know.
And then, I just don't know. I don't know, honestly.
And we'll get to, this is the next topic after this one, but Wonder Woman 1984 might have a thing to say about being a cluster in the DCEU. So Grace Randolph is the one who is bringing this to us, and she's hit or miss lately. She used to be really good. Like, I used to be a huge fan of Grace. Like, not just like from watching her on YouTube talk about movie trailers and box offices and things like that, but like interactions with her on Twitter, the comic books that she wrote, like she seemed like a genuinely cool person right up until Guardians of the Galaxy came out. And then she seemed like a really angry person that you just didn't want to be subscribed to. But she tweeted, "Here's some more DCEU tea." I don't understand why she had to put T in there, but they're auditioning actors this month to take over the role of Cyborg in Flashpoint, and Andy Muschietti is leading up the search. And then she said, "I'd like to add, I think this is a huge mistake. If there are problems with Fisher that can't be worked out, that's unfortunate, but there are plenty of great DC characters' color that can be used instead. Recasting is a really bad idea and will haunt this film." Mark Hughes, the writer of the movie, said the rumors of Cyborg recasting are a lie. Cyborg is not in The Flash, and the role is not being recast. I've confirmed this with the studio. This rumor is false. So Grace's last tweet was on January 5th at 8:18 a.m., and Mark replied on January 5th at 12:32 p.m. So yeah, I think they're probably better off not having Cyborg in there. With all the issues that Warner Brothers has had, and he's had, and Jason Momoa has now had, and Jeff Johns being allegedly being a douche.
Yeah. And I mean, the rumor of him being in this movie, this has been going on for a while. So, I mean, who knows if that was just kind of like if that was a, first or second draft, or if they're doing damage control now, and since the allegations and all this stuff has come out, who knows? And yeah, you're right. It would behoove them to, just focus on the Flash and not have a Cyborg in here, even if he
Yeah.
could help the story along. I think it's more than that now. It's more about, what happened. What's the fallout from all of this? What's it going to be? Because, again, he said that he didn't want to work on any picture that Hamada was attached to. So,
Right.
what's going to happen with this?
So Hamada, who is the CEO, president of Warner Brothers Pictures.
Yes.
So, I don't know. I think there's just so much bad blood from everything that we've read and seen and heard over the last year, essentially. I think there's so much bad blood that maybe they just retire Cyborg, kind of like Grace is saying. Of course, she virtue signals there a little bit with, like, there's plenty of other interesting characters of color. Like, let's not shoehorn people in. Let's just make a good Justice League. Like, bring in Hawkman. Yeah. And if you want Hawkman to be black, that's fine. Who cares? Right? I think Aldous Hodge is going to play Hawkman in
I was about to say, wasn't that
Black Adam movie, I think. So, like, Hawkman's immortal, essentially. I mean, just have Aldous Hodge play the older version and the new version of him. But yeah, it's things like that, right? It's like, Grace, shut up. Sorry, it's like let the storytellers tell good stories. Don't tell them who or what they need to do or who or what they need to cast. Or better yet, like, bring in an actual another powerhouse. Bring in Hawkgirl. Hawkgirl's a great character. Shara Hall's a great character. Who is been represented well on Legends of Tomorrow, on Justice League Unlimited. Why not?
Yeah. Well, the best live action. Well, they actually. Yeah, I'm thinking back. They actually did do a pretty good job on Legends with the Hawk family. But I was going to say the best Hawks have been Hawk and Dove from Titans.
Yeah, but they're not Justice League level heroes. I mean, they're barely Titan level heroes.
Yeah, I mean, just as far as characters go, but just let the storytellers, be honest. DC has had trouble telling cogent stories that are clear and aren't a mess.
Right.
So it's kind of that double-edged sword. Yeah, let them tell the stories, Grace, even if they've had trouble in the past telling stories.
Yep. All right, so now getting into the kind of the mixture of the two, talking about DC and Star Wars, we've got Patty Jenkins in the news. So Wonder Woman 1984 seems to be a universal bomb. The only people I know who like it, I feel like they're lying to themselves. And, like one of them, she makes a living cosplaying as Wonder Woman, right? She gets invited to things from, like, local WBC or whatever, local CW TV shows to show up dressed as Wonder Woman.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, and she's great at it. And, but she has a vested interest. Like, I love it. It's great. But this article is talking about how Patty is saying Warner's didn't trust her to make Wonder Woman, and the conflicts that she had, and how they told her to change things in 1984, and for some reason she was able to keep it, which it just baffles my mind. She didn't write any of the first Wonder Woman movie, right? She directed it, and she did a great job, even though the last act was awful. And that is obviously on no blame on her. She tried to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it just didn't work. Right. But the first 2/3 of the movie, when it's copying Captain America beat for beat, were great. But that, again, someone else wrote that. She just made cool ass action scenes. But yeah, it's really interesting how she's talking about this. And she declares that she's a Wonder Woman fan, and that's not what we're looking for. Still, I could feel that shaky nervousness on their part of my point of view, because she could tell they were nervous that it wasn't viable. So we saw Patty Jenkins' full view of Wonder Woman, right? And that Star Wars girl, and that Star Wars girl Anna made a great point. Wonder Woman is a legit passenger in her own movie.
Yeah,
figuratively and literally. And so it's like, Do you really? I mean, like, you got some really cool beats from the comic book, like that horrific scene of her learning to float on the wind currents without wings or spider webbing in her armpits. Shout out to Spidey there. But, yeah, like, Wonder Woman 84 is a mess. And it's like, well, no wonder they didn't trust you.
Can I, and we said this when we were talking about Wonder Woman, we give WB a lot of flack, and rightfully so, because they've screwed the pooch quite often with their movies and their decision making. But they were probably right in this case to not give her the total reins. And again, one of the issues he brought up is the 2 introduction scenes, and how they said you need to cut one or the other, and she fought for it, both of them, and she ended up getting her way. And again, when we in the review we talked about it, that second opening that they have, it completely derails the tone that that flashback that the mascara gave us. And that's one of those things where, as a writer, you might love a scene that you wrote, but you have to look at the bigger picture and say, does it help what I'm doing? I think Stephen King said, sometimes you have to, like, talking about writing, you have to kill your babies.
Right.
Like, you might love this. You might absolutely be in love with this scene that you wrote. But when you look at the big picture and you say, as much as I love it, the big picture becomes better if I pull it out. And if I cut it from whether it be a book or a script. And she didn't do it. And,
I mean, Tim Kring learned that the hard way with Heroes.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking at her IMDb right now. She does not have this, like, prolific career as a director, right? She's got 16 directing credits, a bunch of shorts, but Monster is a legit great movie, but that's her first feature film. A lot of filmmakers coming out of the gate really strong. Next, she did an episode of Arrested Development, which is great. It was a great episode. It's the one where they build a house. It's actually called The One Where They Build a House. It's really, really good. She did 2 episodes of Entourage in 2006. So, she's got the bros in there. She did a TV movie called 5, and the segment was called Pearl. She did 2 episodes of The Killing, one being the pilot. I hated The Killing.
I never watched it.
I hated it. Like, I watched most of the first season, and I hated every minute of it.
Is one of your favorite actors?
My second least favorite actor is in that. Anyway, she did the pilot for the show Betrayal. I never saw that. She did another TV movie called Exposed, and then she did Wonder Woman. She did the epilogue to Edda's Mission. I guess it's a short that she did. She did 2 episodes of I Am the Night. She did the pilot. That was a Chris Pine TNT show with Khaleesi. I think Khaleesi was in it. And then now she's done 84. She's in pre-production for Cleopatra, and they've announced Star Wars Rogue Squadron and Wonder Woman 3. Here's my question to you about all of this. Is Star Wars does not have the greatest track record with directors right now.
No, they don't.
Do you as Disney look at what's happening with Wonder Woman and say, maybe we don't do Patty? I know we announced it, but like maybe we kind of Edgar Wright this thing and we kind of push it off until she quits.
That's a possibility.
Because when she was directing Thor: The Dark World, there was a lot of like back and forth, and she left. You know, I mean, I think it was amicable that like they're like, we don't want to work together. I don't think Star Wars is going to be a good fit for that either.
I honestly don't think so either. So I would kind of side with what you just said, is push it off. And look, if she kind of writes the reins with Cleopatra and maybe a Wonder Woman 3 and, and this Rogue
Squadron is set before set to come out before Wonder Woman 3.
Was it 2023?
Rogue Squadron. So Cleopatra's 2022. Rogue Squadron is 2023, and then Wonder Woman 3 doesn't have a date. But here's the thing.
Okay.
She wrote Monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she's got the screenplay by and story by for Wonder Woman 3. And right now they have the writing credit for Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman 1984. Right now they have the Wonder Woman 3 writing credit down for her. But then, that could probably change. But I mean, wow. Just wow. Yeah, I don't know. Now, her dad was a fighter pilot, so she knows about, like, pilots, maybe? Like, but at the same time, like, if this is something that's set in or around Jedi, right? Return of the Jedi, not that other one with Jedi in the name.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know if we want her touching anything close to real canon.
Yeah, I don't think so, honestly, because again, let's go back to what you said, the issue that the Star Wars universe has had with some of these directors in this, canon, this world of canon, and it hasn't been, even Rogue Squadron, even Rogue One, which, I enjoyed, they had severe behind the scenes issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we know what happened with Solo as well.
It lost money.
Yeah.
As Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers likes to say, Solo lost money. Reylos are weird. That makes me laugh every time. I don't know why.
That is.
Like, and I didn't hate Solo. I mean,
yeah, I didn't either. I thought it was decent.
It was
not great.
Okay for what it was.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
But no, I just think, like, is she a one-hit wonder? With Monster, like, is Monster? Are we gonna look back and be like, Apex, like, steal from the rewatchables? Apex Mountain for Patty Jenkins was Monster. It won.
Her first movie.
It won Oscars. It did all this stuff. I don't know. I really don't. I really don't know.
Yeah, and again, like I said, maybe wait till Cleopatra's out, but a lot of that, they're going to probably go into pre-production.
Star Wars will have to be in pre-production while Cleopatra's happening. So
I don't know how. Yeah, man, why can't things just be go off smooth without a hitch?
I think it's just one of those things where we can't have nice things.
We have Grogu.
Do we? I mean, he's kind of
he's
I don't
know.
gone now.
Do we have him anymore?
Yeah, who knows when we'll see that adorable little green-eared freak again?
Look at you. You've softened on him.
My heart has softened on Grogu and Boba Fett. What is the world Dude, 2020 was the weirdest year.
Brian likes Boba Fett now.
No. Well, let's not go that far. I enjoyed Boba Fett.
Him?
No, I don't. No, he hasn't earned my respect yet. So, kill Din Djarin, and then we'll see.
Brian doesn't actively hate Boba Fett.
Yeah, that would be the truth. So, all right.
Who knows? 2020, you might be Joel Kinnaman might become one of your decent actors that you like to see on screen.
All right, let's move on to something we actually do really like. Cobra Kai Season 3.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
it was... Every time I say that title, I follow it with the triple Cobra Kai.
Nice. Did you know... never mind. So we're gonna just kind of hit highlights from each episode. We're gonna go bop. We're each gonna talk about a couple things and move on. But that being said, you have to respect a show that is written by the same 3 to 4 writers for the most part through the entire season.
And something like that really shows as far as the continuity and just the smooth transitions between episodes. and that's one of the great things about, you were talking about Star Wars, The Mandalorian, because Favreau wrote most of season. Well, didn't you say? I think he wrote most of the.
He's written almost every episode. There's like 4 episodes he hasn't written. So
now, I'm not saying that has to be the case, but I think when you have a small segment of writers doing something.
Well, look
like
at
this.
Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot, I feel, is a very niche show, right? It's niche. Like, it's a neat show. Yeah. It's a really neat show, too. I really enjoy it. But Sam Esmail wrote and directed all of it. Every episode.
Well, another one. Vikings. Michael Hirsch, who's the creator. He's written every single episode of this show.
I still have to watch the last season of that. So
I'm only 3 episodes in. So.
Maybe we'll talk about that next week with The Expanse. It'll be an all Amazon Prime show. The Amazon Prime show. Do, 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 do. I don't know what that was. All right, real quick.
Is that Mario?
No, I don't know, maybe. Let's before we get to our highlights, let's kind of talk about like some winners and losers from this season.
All right.
I don't want to save it till the end. I want to talk about it first. So we'll start with the bad and finish with the good, because we'll finish with the good and then go into the high notes of the good. So losers for season 3 of Cobra Kai. Who you got?
Sam. Well, what are we talking about? People we like as
no. Who we like? I think if we don't like the character, like John Kreese, but like we still like the arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like,
okay.
So like Sam LaRusso, we both agree on. We don't like the character. We don't like the arc she's on.
No.
We don't necessarily care for Mary Mouser in the role either, but that's beside the point. We're talking characters, not necessarily actors.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Sam would be number 1 on that list for me.
Mm-hmm. I think Aisha was a big loser because she wasn't even in the show.
Yeah.
But like I was reading a lot about like, oh, she was the conscience of Cobra Kai. Was she? Did you
really.
Not watch the first season when she gave Yas that front wedgie? Where she got like overly aggressive with people in that first All Valley tournament. She beat that, or when she lost to Xander.
Yeah, she got pissed.
She got mad. She refused to bow or shake his hand, and she just took off. But no, I think like not having Aisha was like, I missed Aisha all season long, especially at the end. With the Katie bar the door. I'm also gonna say Amanda LaRusso was a loser.
You know what's funny? I had her too on there. I was thinking about it, just because.
Well,
it was like.
I think we have 2 different reasons for this, so you go first.
Okay. Like, I was going to say, I don't know if they knew how to truly kind of... Because she became, like, kind of... Like, the relationship with her and Daniel, for me, was... Like, and in part, it had nothing to really do with necessarily his trip to Japan, but like, there was something missing from their relationship where... It seemed like, for me, they just came off more as partners in business.
Yeah.
And they were missing that chemistry of a husband and wife for me.
So every conversation they had was like the Lego movie with Lord Business, where it was like business. I felt she was a loser because her character got sidelined for the 2 women that Daniel really loves.
Yeah, Kumiko and Allie.
Yeah, and Kumiko more than Allie, I would think. He didn't fight to the death for Allie. There's not a Peter Cetera song proclaiming how much he loves Allie or Amanda. But no, like the whole time he was in Okinawa, I was like, he's totally gonna cheat on Amanda.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were going to go that route just because of, the type of show it is. But the signs were there for him to do that. I mean, his reactions.
Yeah. When she said, well, nobody's ever fought to the death to me before. Like, I thought he was going to like, awkwardly sweep her up and take her to one of those, the beds at the auntie's house. But yeah, I thought it was really weird. It was really, 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 really weird.
So who else do you have?
I have Daniel. I think Daniel is the least self-aware character on a show of non-self-aware characters.
I had him as he was. I think I wasn't sure if I was going to put him on there, but that least self-aware part is spot on. You know, rewatching it today, where he's having a conversation with Miguel, and he's like saying, "Well, no, this really happened. Oh yeah, and the water hose was just there." He never just steps back and says, "You know what? I could have done something different."
Yeah, I could have not done that. And because I rewatched Karate Kid 3, the whole Miyagi-Do karate. Excuse me. Anyway, just that whole thing, and the way he was with Robbie, right? He did not understand how he betrayed Robbie, and I think the situation that they were in when Robbie has his thing, he should have gone to Robbie on his own. And not brought the police with him.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that's all my losers.
So I have one, and again, he's. I actually have, in one sense, Robbie, and it's kind of weird because the first half of the season, I think he was, because like what was going on with him, I really, and again, I don't know if it had to do with the actor or the scenes, just didn't hit for me when he was in the what was it, in jail,
in juvie.
But I actually liked where he ended up. So it was kind of like that toss up for me. Like I didn't like the first half of his scenes in the show, but I did like where he ends up.
Okay.
So I guess I'm kind of teeter tottering on him. So I'll put him in that middle.
I don't have him as a winner or a loser, but I'll tell you what I like. That kid cannot act. Right? He can't act. He's not a good actor. But I will say this. The non-acting is the most authentic thing about Robbie, because Robbie is a horrible person. Robbie has no sense of right or wrong because he was raised by a junkie and an absentee dad who only showed up when he was in trouble. And then he was taken in by Daniel in a way, and it wasn't necessarily the best relationship, because Daniel, when he found out, Tanner Buchanan, that's the name of the guy that plays Robbie, when Daniel found out like he was Johnny's son, he kind of went overboard with the like, haha, I'm gonna steal your kid, which was creepy and kind of grooming.
And then the first time Robbie does something Daniel doesn't like, he's like, don't come back home. Yeah, don't come back to me.
He dumps him.
So we're kind of in the same route in the sense of we kind of have him in the middle.
But where Robbie ends up at the end is just, it's like chef's kiss, like to the both of them, because Robbie can take a beating, but Robbie cannot do any, like his defense stats are high, but his strength stats are low. Yeah. When he was fighting that kid, what?
Yeah. I was going to say he actually took Taekwondo.
Yeah. I'm just saying the way Robbie is written, like when he was fighting the bully in prison, like he did some sick ass moves, but like, another Netflix hallway fight. Thank you, Netflix. Staying on brand. But he didn't. I felt like he should have taken that kid out easy.
Well, the thing, that kid outweighed him by like 60 pounds too.
Yeah, but Robbie got him with some great shots, like with all of his body weight. I mean, you practice martial arts too. Like, when you've got those like leverage moves, and you've got that, it's coming all the way through the center of the earth up through your heel type of punch or kick that he was doing. Well, like there's just no power there.
Yeah. Well, let's also be honest too, that you get hit with a well-delivered kick, you're going down,
right,
and you're going to stay down,
right. Because the other two guys went down like nothing, but
Yeah.
Anyway, I get it. It was for the story. All right, so winners. First and foremost, the Karate Kid, Miguel Diaz.
The true Karate Kid.
The one true, the Kevin Conroy of Karate Kids.
So the first thing we get with him, we open up with him fighting in a tournament, and we all kind of, well, for a second I was like, they're not jumping all the way to the end of the season.
I thought they were showing us the end of the season, and then they were gonna, they were showing the beginnings of his championship fight, and then they were coming back to the hospital, and that's what I was hoping, but it turned out way better than I expected.
So that was my first thought, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But when you realize that it's him fighting fighting basically for his life in a way, I love that. And that was, again, this is one of the things I loved about this show, are how they edit in different, their editing. I love it in the sense of whether it be, we'll get to this, the finale where they're editing in the brawl for all with what's going on with Kreese in Vietnam to this, and how they're playing, or to Miguel, finally, in that brawl for all fight, coming back to what Johnny said to him when he was in his coma. The editing in this show and how they put scenes together like that, I love it.
Yep. And
that's what I loved about Miguel, is him fighting to get out of this, and then waking up.
Yep.
And then his struggle over the next few months and learning how to have to walk all over.
The training montage that went over several episodes was just fantastic. They definitely showed a large amount of time passed, but at the same time, he had a surgery and then he was out the next day. That was a little weird, but whatever. I'm suspending disbelief. But no, I mean, Miguel is my favorite character in the show. Zolo is a fantastic young actor. I really liked him as Victor on Parenthood. But yeah, I feel like he overall won during the season, but he didn't win the season as far as story goes. Next, I think Hawk had a great arc. I don't want to spoil too much of Hawk's arc for people who haven't seen it. And tied in with Hawk, I think based on some of the things that Hawk went through, he brought Dimitri up to another level that we haven't seen from that character.
Mm-hmm. And you actually told me that too, because I when I watched the first couple episodes, I'm like, dude, Dimitri gets on my nerves.
Dude, Dimitri,
I didn't dislike him like I dislike Sam, but I'm like, dude, it's so annoying. And you're like, just wait. I'm like, okay. And then I did appreciate him a little bit more, the second half of the season.
Well, okay, so two spoiler things for Dimitri. One, he gets his arm broken, and two, he gets the girl.
Yeah.
And I thought that would the scene where they're making out in the hallway and Miguel and her catch him was just, it was great. Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
Yeah, I watched the first couple seasons.
So George Michael's girlfriend Anne, who was played by the amazing Mae Whitman, and every time he brought her around Jason Bateman, he would be like, her? And that's the reaction I get whenever I see Miguel with Sam. I'm not gonna say what I called her, but so I also think Tori won a little bit of this season, because she became more of a fleshed out character and less of a karate sex doll.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about this season is you get more background into some of these characters. And again, Tori's having a hard time. That doesn't excuse your actions when you have a hard time, mm-hmm. but you have to take that into account. And when one of the things that bugged me about Sam is when they're in the hospital and Miguel says, "Hey, Tori's had a hard life."
Yeah. And
then Sam's response, it's a Daniel response.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has a hard time. Everybody has a sob story. Yeah. You have no clue what she's going through.
No, especially because she's as spoiled as any kid in the show.
Oh, absolutely.
But
and again, I don't mistake saying somebody has a hard time for absolve them of their actions. But again, for a second, put yourself in their shoes. Don't just say, "Hey, everybody has a sob story." My dad is this, that, and the other. I mean, again, I'm not going to go on a Sam tirade.
Oh,
but,
I thought of another loser that I forgot. West Valley High School lost because karate was banned. and the guidance counselor lost because she's a guidance counselor. And you've made a lot of mistakes in your life if you went up as a guidance counselor.
Oh, man.
I don't
non-punishing rehabilitation detention.
Right. I don't know if you had guidance counselors at your school.
I did.
We had guidance counselors at my school, and one, she was the superintendent's wife, I believe, and that's how she had the job. And she couldn't say sentence; she said sentence, which I was in a meeting with her and I corrected her every time she said it one time. Because I was so fed up with her nonsense. And then the other one, he was a really great guy, but he was a coach, which he was a much better coach than he was a guidance counselor. So, anyway, yeah, guidance counselors are essentially worthless. But yeah, I will say that I think Eli and Dimitri's stories really kind of intertwined well this season, bringing them back to the point where they ended. And then my last winner is John Kreese. And John Kreese's arc this season was legitimately my favorite thing about the show. Shocked me to no end.
Well, again, going back to what I liked about this season, getting a three-dimensional character. John Kreese has been the main villain, if you're going to talk about villains, the bad guy in most of the series, not counting Chosen and
Well, I mean, he was still a bad guy in Karate Kid 2 because he tried to choke the life out of Johnny after breaking his second place trophy.
So getting that background of him, and one of the things you mentioned is how his story parallels a lot with what happened with Mr. Miyagi, in the sense of losing a loved one while you were at war, and being a war hero and going through the horrors of war
and how you handle that trauma.
Yeah,
and I think there was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was about to say, and he comes out a lot differently with similar trauma as Miyagi, and they're on polar opposite sides of how they come out of it.
Well. So there's a couple things, right? So Miyagi was in World War II. It was a much different war than Vietnam, historically speaking.
Yes.
And he was in a highly decorated front and center unit of Japanese American fighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kreese was in the Vietnam conflict, to be fair. And he had a sadistic, let's go kill as many as we can outside of the Geneva Convention type of warfare, who essentially told him when the chips were all down that it was his fault and it was every man for himself.
Yeah. Not the leader you want.
No, not the leader you want. Plus, Miyagi came from a family, and when his wife died, he was told of it while he was still at war, as we got that amazing scene in Karate Kid 1. Whereas Kreese didn't find out until they were over the snake pit.
Yeah, it was used as a weapon against him.
Yes.
The same way that the bully, who evidently is Martin Coe's real son.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Used his mother, Kreese's mother's suicide as a weapon against him.
That was a great introduction to how our expectations were going to be subverted for this season. So I'm going to spoil something because I don't care. It was amazing storytelling. So we meet Terry Silver, and we meet a character who you think is Terry Silver.
Yeah.
All the way up until the part where he eats a bullet. And then we find out that the much meeker friend, Twig, is Terry Silver. And I loved every second of it. And I bought it. I bought in that ponytail was Terry Silver, and it's like, wait, what? You just what? I thought that was really, really, really cool.
Yeah, this show has done, throughout done such a good job subverting our expectations or teasing us in a way. Like, for instance, you see the surgeon come, she's blonde, and we know Allie's a doctor. This is Nick was going to do the surgery on Miguel. It would have been super cheesy if it would have been Allie.
Right.
But
absolutely.
They know because of the friend request that Johnny sent on Facebook, we have Allie on the mind. So they have this blonde woman, and she turns around. It's not Allie. But we don't get Allie for another 5 or 6 episodes.
Actually, we don't get Allie for another 8 episodes because that was
the first episode.
So
second.
But yeah, no, that was great. Cooper agrees.
Yeah, you heard that.
Yeah. Anyway, I think the other winner is Chosen.
Oh man!
As far as like winners like that go, that was. Oh, actually, let me rephrase that. Honorable mention winners. Chosen is number 1 honorable mention. We get to see more of what transpired from Karate Kid 2 and how it affected him, and how it changed his life.
Yeah, and he had probably the one moment in this show or in this season that I probably laugh heartily at the most is when he gets his, what I would call his revenge on Daniel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, it was so funny.
I love that, but I just love that because I was like, they're gonna do it. I was like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it, and then I just kind of yelled when he did it.
Right, it was so great.
Yeah, but to your point, I loved how that conversation he has with Daniel, where he's like, dishonoring himself, and I just wanted to die.
Yeah,
and he was forced to build his way back up.
Well, and the Miyagi-Do connection to the two of them, and how much more knowledgeable Chosen was in Miyagi-Do because of Sato, and because Chosen was a much more mature fighter at a younger age, because Daniel's never been a great fighter, right? Daniel's been a loudmouth punk who, normally gets what's coming to him. But but Chosen was such an advanced fighter that the defect of the lack of honor that he had, that needed an ass kicking to understand, he was able to learn more about Miyagi-Do. Plus, he stayed in Okinawa and continued to refine his craft. Ralph Macchio is a tourist when it comes. Daniel LaRusso. I'm sorry. Daniel LaRusso is a tourist when it comes to Miyagi-Do karate, or I'm sorry, Miyagi-Do karate. Douche. Anyway, that's 100% Ralph Macchio, by the way, doing that. Yeah, so that's just one of the things where it's like, oh, come on, dude. Like, you are telling the guy who was raised in Miyagi-Do, who was trained by Sato, who trained with the Miyagi, who they were trained by the same people, and you're telling him that you know more about Miyagi-Do than he does. How that's the lack of self-awareness.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if you look at it, Daniel is not the greatest person in the world at all. Like,
he never has been. Like, going back and watching Karate Kid 3, like, he made a lot of his own problems.
Yeah. Yep.
And he blames everybody else for his problems.
Yeah, he never takes responsibility. The biggest thing, like, he'll say, maybe I could have done this. That's the farthest. Instead of saying, you know what, you're right, I should have done this.
Yeah.
Or this is on me.
Yeah, the next honorable mention is Bobby, the preacher.
No. I'm like, Bobby,
the priest. But he's not a priest. And mainly because of that spinning wheel kick that took Johnny down when he was drunken in his church. But no, Bobby had some great scenes this season. He was used just the right amount.
I'm glad they brought him back.
Yeah, that was great. And they gave Dutch like the proper like send off because the guy that played Dutch died in real life. In the 2 years in between seasons, and at the end of the first episode, they had the nice little in memoriam card for him. So that was great. All right, let's talk about Allie.
Yeah. So
I want to know what you thought because I of course I have thoughts because Brian has thoughts.
Yeah. So the first thing is I thought it was super, just I don't know, super staged at how they introduced her. I didn't like how they introduced her with her mom coming in, and I wasn't a fan of that. Allie in general, I thought she was okay. I really liked how she helped Johnny kind of, I think, fully break away from the past. And what I mean by that is he's been struggling with the whole Cobra Kai thing, and we've all known what's happened to him, and him and Carmen finally took another step. Yeah. They finally sealed the deal, but he's like, I don't know what to go from here. And then Allie, he sees Allie comes into the picture in, not just a Facebook friend. And one of the things that they say, and this is one of my favorite lines because you can use this in pretty much anything. And, we talk about nostalgia and all this stuff. And what she says, or what they say to each other, it is, here it is. She says, sometimes it's good to visit the past to know where you are, but you can't live in the past. And I think for her purpose was to move Johnny forward and to help him break all the ties of his past, not just his past of Cobra Kai, but his past insecurities as a person. He had a terrible stepfather. That's another thing, we talk about with, people, how they're raised and all this stuff. And I did like that with her. I'm a fan of Elizabeth Shue. It's very different seeing her in this versus seeing her in The Boys, but
right.
I did like how they used her character as a way for Johnny to, nostalgia is good, but you can't live on nostalgia. You have to move forward, or else you're just going to be stuck in the same problems that you've had in the past. It won't allow you to move forward. So I liked how they used her in that regard.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was incredibly cheesy the way they introduced her, right? I felt like she was a chaos agent. She was brought in to shake the two of them to their proverbial core, right? She got Johnny thinking about what's next instead of what happened. And she got Daniel to look at where did I come from and how did I get here? Which opens us up to Eagle Do Karate. And it was really, really interesting. And here's the thing is like, this is, again, why Amanda LaRusso is a bit of a loser for the season, is because if Allie would have said to Daniel, hey, let's go in the bathroom and knock one out, he wouldn't have hesitated.
And again, it goes back to them there's just not being that, husband and wife connection. I just never felt that with them. And I'm trying to it's hard to say. Like, I'm trying to think back on the first two seasons if I actually felt it more then. But I just going for this season. You're right. It's he was starry eyed with both Kumiko and seeing Allie, and in the sense of really wanting to get in their personal space. Put it that way. Like, just based on how Ralph played the scenes. Yeah. So it wasn't one of those where, wow, it's awesome to see you. It's been so long. It was more of him, again, going back to this nostalgia. He was caught up and wrapped up in the nostalgia and forgetting that, he has commitments in the present.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. So, all right. So let's just kind of wrap this up with some highlights. The Brawl for All, as you put it, in the LaRusso house, I think was a great highlight of teen karate soap opera drama at its finest. You had sides being changed. You legitimately were concerned for Miguel the entire time, which was bringing Kyler back, the Asian kid from season 1 who called him Rhea when he dumped the food on his head, who Miguel kicked his ass in the school cafeteria, was great. And Kyler had an interesting little arc because he was back to being a prick, and Kreese did a kind of thinning of the herd of strength by subtraction with Cobra Kai, and Kyler easily beat Assface or Penis Breath, whichever one you want to call him. But then when the big dude and Hawk came in, this was an amazing little transformation that Jacob Bertrand nailed perfectly. He went back to being Eli for like a solid 30 minutes of that episode. Mm-hmm. Or I'm sorry, a solid 15 minutes of that 30-minute episode. And then when the big dude who had picked on him like got in the ring, he's like, who's next? He stepped up. Hawk stepped up, and those guys were like, this dude, I thought you transferred. The hair really takes it away from the lip, which Johnny told him would happen. And they think he's a joke. And then he takes the gi off, and he's got that giant hawk. And to the sound department, thank you for doing the hawk thing. Whenever that hawk comes out, and whenever Hawk goes to do something cool. That's a solid. But then he turns around, he's got the Reaper on his chest, and Kyler is like, wait a second, what is happening? And Big Boy's like concerned but still super cocky. And then he goes full narrator from Fight Club on Big Boy, where he just wanted to destroy something beautiful.
Yeah, and the guy's like, please stop. And
he's
like, no,
he's begging him to stop, and he continues to beat the shit out of it. And then he spit on him, which is like, I'm like, wow, that was a dick move. Like, Bret Hart, that was kind of his go-to, like spitting on people, and I hate that. I think that's just kind of not a cool thing to do. But yeah, I don't know. Like, this was a great season. I don't know if it was as good as season 2, but I certainly did like it. Real quick, when Cobra Kai hit Netflix in August, it became the most watched series on the platform for a long time. And it was, it's been watched by, tens of millions of households, and has drawn nearly 2 billion streams in the United States, 2.2 billion streaming minutes in the United States. So you can divide that by 27 minutes. I will say, this is the anti-woke show. Yes. Like, it's got a ton of diversity, but it's anti-woke. But that is not stopping the people from the Los Angeles Times for complaining that there are 3 white males in the lead.
Wait
exactly.
A minute, 3?
What? Johnny, Daniel, and Kreese.
Ralph Macchio is not white.
I know. You and I know this, but, Anyway, one last thing. We find out where the name Cobra Kai came from. That's one thing that happened. And watching the Prisoner of War stuff is great as well. Sorry. That was... Yeah. But anyway, I give this... I'm going to say 3.5. I'm going to say 4 out of 5 crane kicks. Illegal. Screams. I was going to say 4 out of 5 illegal crane kicks to the face.
Yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5. There are some things I will say. The one thing I definitely liked better in season 2 was the finale. Mm-hmm. Season 2's finale was just the hallway fight, and then the questions we're left with. This one, I still love the season as a whole. Yeah, love Johnny's arc, love Miguel's arc, and Hawk.
So there's no individual episode that really stands out in this season.
No.
It's just a lot of like high spots. So anyway, all right, let's take a bow and step off the mat. The Expanse just continues to be amazing.
Yeah, and it's one of those shows where it's one of these shows now that sometimes I'm expecting so much from it. It's not until the second viewing that I really appreciate what's going on. And this was one of those episodes that was like that. First time I watched it, it's like watching one of those movies where you're anticipating it and it's so much going on. You're like, okay, that was fine. And then you watch it again and you're like, damn, that was good.
Yes, 100%. It's one of those shows where, you know, it's so well written, it's so well acted, and it's so well produced. To the point where, like, I had a friend on Facebook who was talking about the warp bubble in Star Trek, and wondering why they don't just go warp 9 everywhere they go. And someone said, well, they'll run out of fuel and it's too hard on the ship. And I said, yeah, it's too hard on the ship. What they should do is just do one blast for like 30 seconds at warp 9 and then in the frictionless vacuum of space glide. Expanse style, right?
Yeah, right.
And they're like, and then someone came in and they're like, well, the warp bubble is so they can travel at above light speed. They're not actually moving, they're folding space. That's not how warp speed works in Star Trek, dude. I'm sorry.
No.
But no, and they don't actually travel. They're sublight. Anyway, I will say, seeing the Rossi leave Tycho Station, it is our thumbnail for a reason. I love that ship. I told you we're getting that. I bought a 3D printer, and I found a ton of different like Rossi models to print.
Hey, let me know how that goes, because I've been thinking about that, and then you said you're getting one, and
well, it'll be here in like February. So when we get it, you can come up and we'll play with it.
Oh, cool. Dude, I'm down for that.
Yeah. I found like Green Lantern rings to print. I found a Legion flight ring. I found a really cool like astronaut, but it's got a stormtrooper head on it. I'm gonna print up a storm. Haley and I are gonna start printing like superhero logos and sell them as magnets, sort of thing.
That's really cool.
So yeah, I'll say this. I really enjoyed this episode. I wish more would have happened.
Yeah,
it
was one of those where it's like where you're putting the pieces, you're just moving the pieces around so you can prepare for what's coming.
Yes,
that's what this episode was, and we didn't get a lot of. So we got the people that we didn't get a lot of was Avazarala, Amos, and Bobby, and Holton and the Rossi. Those were the ones.
This episode. Wait, which episode? This episode.
Well,
we got Avazarala at the beginning, kind of setting up what's happening with the Earth government, and she's getting some power back, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
We got a lot of Amos. Oh, you meant Alex.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Alex and Bobby.
Yeah, but okay, so here's the thing. I feel like the Avazarala stuff we got was perfect. It was setting her up. The Bobby and Alex stuff that we got was amazing. And any more of that would have ruined how awesome that was.
Yeah, and that's what I'm like. I don't have a problem with it. It's just saying, like, we just didn't get a lot of them, and I like how this show does that. It focuses on what needs to be focused on for the story.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it was more so about what's going on in the belt with Drummer and Marco, and also with with Amos and Clarissa / Peaches on Earth.
Yeah,
those were the two main storylines.
Well,
for this episode.
So when I say nothing happened, right? There was no big like exciting things.
Right.
But
a lot happened.
There was a lot. It pushed the story forward. We got we saw the first cracks in the what's the word? The charisma that is Marco Inaris. When he told Sin to space Naomi and he said no. And then he said, "Do you think I'm old enough now where you can take me?"
Yeah.
Which was great.
I love that scene. Well, first of all, because the look on Marco's face, but then you were talking about the cracks. Did you see the look on the crew's face? Someone standing up to him.
Right.
Like even bloodthirsty Carol was like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
Well, and she was like, "Hey, if you want some of the space, Naomi Nagata, I'm your gal. You just come to me next time. I won't even hesitate." So
yeah.
But that's why he asked Sen. He was, well, he asked Philip first, and then Philip was like, I don't want to do that, Dad.
Yeah. And once again, what does Marco do? He puts Philip down for having a heart.
My son with a heart.
Yeah.
I
love Keon Alexander.
Keon Alexander is so great. Like, he could be Thrawn.
Yes, he's one of the way that just.
I mean, it's essentially the same character, but like he could totally be Thrawn. But yeah, I thought everything that happened on the Pella, I thoroughly enjoyed. Especially when Kamina and friends, associates. Was that what he said? Drummer and associates. Showed up on the Pella and got an offer that they couldn't refuse. I thought that was interesting. That's a little different than the book.
Yeah, which I don't know the Belters, like one of the crew's name, but whoever that guy was, I loved his speech where he's like, "We're acting like this is a choice. It's not a choice. Like, we have to join." Right.
It's join or die.
Yeah, it is. Like, even though Marco said you can go in peace, there's never going to be peace. Mm-mm. Like, even if Marco didn't decide to vaporize them, they're never going to have peace unless they join up, because the inners, Earth and Mars, there's no way they're going to listen. "Oh, you're Belter, so you're responsible for this." And that's going to be the first reaction. I mean, obviously, unless it's Holden or somebody like that, which there aren't. Right. Now that Fred's gone, there's not many inners that are going to give Belters the benefit of the doubt.
No, sir.
So, but I just love that scene where he's like, he's done more, like, and he didn't necessarily approve of it, but he said, he did what, Anderson Dawes and Fred Johnson couldn't do, and that's unite the belt. Doesn't mean that he did it the right way, but he's saying, because again, there's going to be a lot of Belters that are going to hate what he did, and granted, a lot that won't mind it either. But the people that hate what he did, they're going to see that we don't have a choice.
Right. He united the seven.
Yeah. Every time. Yeah. I think of that every time I hear that, like, whatever reason. But yeah, I do. There were just small scenes like that where I just loved it. And I was surprised how well Drummer kept it together, because
considering her temper or whatever.
Like Carol said, your temper precedes you.
Yeah, your temper precedes you. That's what I was trying to get out, but words are hard. Hey, I made it an hour and 13 minutes before words became hard today. That's an all-time record. I also like the little scene between Monica and Bull. I thought that was great. And when she was like, "Well, I was one of the first people to go through the ring gate," and he's like, "Well, have you ever been on a military ship at high G's?" And she says, "I have, on this ship." And it was like, boom, way to end it.
And Holden's face was like, he had that little, like, small smirk, like, okay.
There was respect. Girl. He was like respect. Yeah. He hit it. Yeah. He did the fist to the chest bump twice, like, respect.
Yeah.
All right. Every single thing with Amos and Clarissa in this episode was fantastic. There was nothing that happened that did not have you at least on the edge of your seat, wondering what was going to happen. Like when they found the dude who offered them the drink by the fire, you didn't know if he was going to turn on them, if they were going to turn on him, what was happening there. He was just essentially a guide point. Like, he was an NPC in a video game who was telling you which road to take.
Yeah, and that led into one of my favorite lines, and they actually had it on, I think, Instagram, where they were like from the page to the book. and where they play the scene, and then they, on the side they show the dialogue how it was in the book, and it was very close to the book when he's talking about the civilization. Civilization, what keeps you civil. Take away one, you can't depend on the other.
So it's really funny that this was the episode this week.
Yes, absolutely it was.
Because like tribes, right? He talks about tribes. Amos talks about tribes and how the smaller the tribe is, the more tight-knit the tribe is. The larger the tribe gets, the more violent the tribe is.
Yes.
And I found that, and we watched this on Tuesday, so we watched it before, the churn in the real world, but it was very, very true. To what that was.
Very apropos of what's gone on this week.
I like that word, apropos.
Yeah, that's one of my words. One of my go-to words.
My word is blasphemy. That's my favorite word. It's been my favorite word since I was 6 years old. So
I could see a 6-year-old Brian just say, "This is blasphemy."
Well,
blasphemy.
It was the second or third time I'd gotten kicked out of Sunday school for asking too many questions. So you laugh, I'm
laughing because I could 100% see this. Absolutely.
They took me out, found my parents, and made me sit with them in church. And I remember her whispering to my mom in a very angry voice, "He can't come back until next week." And then after the third time, "He can't come back." He asked too many questions. He's making the kids think.
He's making the kids think. That is hilarious.
Oh, God. Yeah. Anyway, it was like, yeah. I've always been this way, so I'm sorry.
And that's why I laugh, because I'm like, I can absolutely see a 6-year-old Brian doing that.
I'm 100% sorry for being this way. I just can't help it. No, but I mean, it was the scene where it was so, oh man, the compound scene was so taken from the book so amazingly, as far as pen to paper to screen. It was everything I wanted that scene to be.
Yeah.
From the frozen gun, of the guy's quote unquote son, to the guy and like, why don't I just kill you and go take what I want, to Peaches, going full Hulk for hulking out. And the surprise on Amos's face, right? Like, you don't see a lot of surprise, but the like you were saying with the conversation there at the end between the very end that led to the, fade to ring gate, was when she asked him, like, why did you come here? We didn't have to do this. We didn't have to come here. We didn't have to kill that guy. And he says, Holden would have never let me do that. Or no, he didn't say let me. Holden wouldn't have liked me doing that or whatever.
Yeah, and it was his realization, and this is one of those things about Amos. Amos is my favorite character, but I some of the reactors I listened to, they're like, he's just, because how he's caring for Peaches, like, he's a good dude. It's like, Amos is not a good dude.
Yeah, whoever said Amos was a good dude? Have they watched this show?
Okay, just because you like a character does not mean they're good, and that's actually the point what Clarissa was making, in the sense of, because she was like, do you regret it? Of yeah, the guy was a creep, but what if he wasn't? Well, we still killed him. And he was like, we needed supplies, and he was like, we did this. But then she was like, this, what we did, this is not something a good person does. And then she goes a step further. It's not even something a bad person who's trying to be good would do.
Right.
And that's where it hits Amos, where it's like, I need to get back to my crew, because he understands when he's talking about tribes and stuff. Holden and the crew of the Rossi is Amos's North Star. If he's not connected with them, he knows where he can go. And even if he doesn't fully capture,
right,
how to get to the point of where he wants to be, he knows that he doesn't want to be the monster. It's kind of funny because Clarissa was talking about monsters, and one of the things she said is, I can't be a monster because monsters aren't afraid. And Amos, he told Alex, I haven't been afraid since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
So I just love that combination of slowly dawning on him.
Mm-hmm.
I need my crew. I need my people. I need Holden. I need Naomi. I need Alex to make sure I stay on that path.
And I thought it was really important that he said Holden, right?
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
Let's flash back to the Doniger blows up. They're on the little shuttle. They're running out of air. And Amos says, "What's to stop me from ripping your head off and throwing you or helmet off and throwing you into space?"
Yeah.
I can't think of a good reason not to. I can't think of a good reason not to, but I can't think of a good reason to do it either. And
that Naomi wouldn't like it.
Yeah. And now it's like
the first thing.
He will follow Holden, and as we'll see, he will follow Holden to literally the gate of hell. Later in this story, which we're probably not going to get to see that for like 10 years on screen. But yeah, I mean, Holden is, like you said, the crew and Naomi. I think Holden is his North Star
right.
now.
No,
because he's looked at the decision that Holden makes and understands. Holden always tries to do the right thing. He doesn't always succeed at doing the right thing. But we also kind of heard when Johnny was at his lowest with Karate Kid, doing the right thing. You do it for the sake of doing the right thing, not because it's always going to work out.
Yes.
And Amos isn't there right now. That's where that's where he's been for the last season and a half leading up to season 5. That's why he was, so compelling on Illis, and that's why he cared so much about those people on Illis. But you put this Amos in there, he becomes a warlord.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah, I love this show. This show's so good.
And I like how you said. Yeah, I love how you said how it faded to Ring Gate. And that was one of the most muted cliffhangers in a way, because like usually it's like, oh man, something's crazy's happened, like Alex and Bobby are floating in space now or something like that.
Yeah.
But this one is a character realizing how much they need another character, lest they become a monster.
Right.
Like, it's just great, right? Just great.
Yes. I think that is the way to describe. I mean, this is another like 4 out of 5 Rossies, right? As far as episodes go. I've actually been just kind of for notes and stuff looking at Ready Set Cut is the website. They do a really great write up. I should probably link that in the show notes if I remember to do it, because I've got them done. But yeah, I just kind of like, they break it down like what's happening, and it's just easy. It helps me kind of like talk about it as we're going through this. I kind of use it as a guide, and not even like they're not putting like a lot of commentary in there. They're just saying what happened. So. But guys, I love your site. I've actually checked out a bunch of the other stuff, not just the Expanse stuff. But they break it down by Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, movies, TV shows. So yeah.
I just took a note on that. I'm gonna check them out.
Cool. I don't have anything else to say about this episode. What I want to see next week is I want them to get to Baltimore, but I don't want them to stay in Baltimore for very long. I would really like them to gather Eric and get to Luna.
Yeah, and I didn't. This is one of those, another reason why you rewatch episodes, is because when Marco, after he gets annoyed listening to Philip and Naomi, actually bond. He brings up the display, and it looks like he's trying to plot an intercept course for the Rossi chasing the Zamea. I think that's called.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if we're going to get some space battle action with them, or
I don't know.
I'm still wondering how Naomi's going to get out of this, and how close to the book is going to be versus
I really want to see that like scene from the book, but I understand like special effects wise that's going to be really hard to do. Yeah,
so I'll just say this: I trust them.
And maybe what would be cooler is you see her jump out, and then the Screaming Firehawk is the next thing you see, is the Screaming Firehawk like gathering her up.
Yeah, it's
So you don't have to see any of the like horror show that goes along with being in space and in a vacuum without a pressurized suit.
right.
So anyway, yeah, that's what I have for this week.
Yeah. All I need to add is it Tuesday yet?
No, I wish.
Damn it.
I will say before we close out, I started reading Ready Player 2 this week, and I feel like Ready Player 1 is like kind of like we were talking about Patty Jenkins. I feel like Ready Player 1 is the exception for Ernest Cline. As I'm reading through this, I'm going to read the whole book because I started it.
Yeah, because our motto was...
Honestly, if he would have just changed the kid's name to Alex Rogan Jr. and called it The Last Starfighter 2, it would have been much more interesting. I'm not kidding. It's like what was it? The one with Colin Farrell that was the remake, Total Recall. If Total Recall would have been called something else, that'd have been a really good movie. But we had a different expectation for it. If Ang Lee's Hulk would have been called Weird Green Monster, it would have been a really good movie, right? It just wasn't a Hulk movie.
right.
You know, but like, so there's been some like controversy around, you know, woke issues, if you will. And, you know, you guys took it all out of context. He's talking about like, I told you on the phone, it was the scene or the line of dialogue, line of writing, where he's talking about like experiencing different kinds of sex, and he says like man on man, man on woman, woman on woman, blah blah blah, and then it says non-binary, and then he says I'm not ready for that, and all these people said, oh, he's not ready for non-binary sex. No, he's not ready for any of the virtual reality sex. That was the thing. That was the whole thing about it. You know, and you know, Ernest Cline has thrown some things in there that are just really stupid. And you know, he's supposed to be this arbiter of nerddom. And correct me, Magnum PI wore a tiger's hat, right?
I believe so. Let's check it out.
I looked it up. It was a tiger's hat.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm like.
Anyway.
I think it was.
Well, and like, I know I'm nitpicking here, but he's like, yeah, I want to put on my Magnum PI. I want to put on my Hawaiian shirt and my Lions hat. Dude, you're from Ohio. Here's the thing that bothers me the most about the book. Is Middletown, Ohio is this idealized place with like an arcade and a pizza place that everybody wanted to go to. Hey, Ernie, where are the meth heads? That's my review of the book. Where are the meth heads in Middletown, dude? Where are they? Because I tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to go to Middletown, Ohio. Words are hard. I'm not going to go to Middletown, Ohio. I'm not going to park my car and leave it out of my sight for more than 5 minutes.
I guess the future has changed it. Maybe.
It's not the future. He's talking about like the 80s through the 90s. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
So, yeah. But yeah. All right. On that note. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day, night, evening, weekend, wherever it is.
Yeah, I was about to say, hope you have a great weekend and watch.
Well, I hope you had a great
Cobra
weekend.
Kai.
And let's look forward to Alabama kicking the crap out of Ohio State.
Yeah, buddy.
So, anyhow, all right. So, cool. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Later.
Take it easy.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, with new episodes out every Sunday. You can find more information about the show online at infamouspodcast.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @infamouspodcast. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcatching app. If you're enjoying the show, consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/infamouspodcast for our new tiers and rewards. The Infamous Podcast is hosted and produced by me, Brian Tudor, with music provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @BrianTudor. So, whenever you're listening to the show, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is. And we'll see you next time. Later.